The judge is set to hear arguments on whether the suspected MS-13 gang members should be released from jail ahead of his trial on human smuggling charges.
Okay, so if you're unaware, Kilmar Obrego Garcia, also known as the Maryland Man, his lawyers want him to not be in jail during the duration of his trial back in the United States.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the Secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your...
And this is a U.S. Senator who decided to crash a Homeland Security press conference. Now, both of these events are being considered one of the biggest political disasters for Democrats in a long time, so we're going to dig into both of these events. Now, before we start the video, please like the video. It's the #1 way you guys are helping this channel, and it also helps others see the videos as well. It's a massive help. Here we go.
So, believe it or not, lawyers for the quote-unquote Maryland Man, the MS-13 gangbang, want him to roam free during the pendency of his criminal trial for human trafficking. So I don't think the judge in Tennessee will go for that. He's obviously a massive risk to public safety. But even if he is released pending the criminal trial or charges, he could get picked up on the immigration charges. So I think there's a very low chance that this guy's going to be in the streets, and the streets are safer for that.
I know, we have a very interesting court system, but basically Kilmar Obrego Garcia is in court to figure out whether or not he's going to sit in jail during his trial, to figure out if he's going to be charged with human trafficking.
Maryland.
Where do y'all live at?
Where are you living? I live in Maryland.
Maryland?
Yeah, also.
Whose vehicle is it?
What, Fume?
Whose car is it?
It's to my boss.
Your boss?
My boss, yeah.
Where's he live? Where's your boss live?
My boss right now is staying in Maryland, but he lives in Texas.
Okay.
In Houston, Texas.
Now, I don't know if you realize this, we actually have the entire body cam footage of when Kilmar Obrego Garcia was pulled over in Tennessee, and there was already suspicion of human trafficking, but here's where the gray area happened.
So in the video, you can see one of the cops making a phone call. The body cam audio cuts out for 10 minutes. Sources told us that on that call was Joe Biden's FBI, which advised police not to detain Kilmar at the time. That source also tells us Highway Patrol called Biden's ICE, and they never showed up.
Now, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, why is Kilmar back in the country? Is he not an illegal immigrant? Well, you have to understand, Judge Paul Azinas is the one who put out an order saying you have to facilitate a way for Kilmar Obrego to come back. And the Trump administration did, but now they're hitting him with charges. Now, if you haven't already, make sure to please subscribe to my channel. This is what we do here. We cover events like this in detail, and we hold our elected officials accountable. Thank you.
You know what you got here, right?
No.
He's hauling these people for money. You got an ass hauler is what he's doing, but sometimes they commingle dope. And
No, but
he,
did you see that squad in the back?
there's 8 people in there.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that. They put an extra row of seats in there.
Yeah. So he's getting paid to haul these people, probably to Maryland, I would say, if I had my
He
guess.
said they all work together. That's what he's telling me, but he's the only one that knows English.
So let me ask you this. They don't have any luggage in there, right? And if you get them out, they're going to have a tube of toothpaste, and they're going to have toothbrushes in their pockets, I guarantee it.
He's got $1,400 cash in his pocket in an envelope.
Now, the reason why this is being deemed a political disaster for Democrats is because this is a losing situation no matter what. It's one thing to stick up for an illegal immigrant and make sure he has the right due process, but no matter what, they have the full body cam footage. They already thought he was human trafficking, and no matter what, he will be deported. So this is why people are saying, Democrats, what are you doing here? I mean, check this out. Even Senator Van Hollen, you know, the senator who went down to El Salvador to see Kilmar, he's even writing, this has never been about the man, it's about the constitutional rights and the rights of all. And you may have noticed you don't really hear about Kilmar anymore. At one point, his name is all we heard in the media, again, also deemed the Maryland Man, but now it's not really about him, it's about the constitutional crisis. Let's continue.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the Secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your heads off.
And speaking of a crisis, this is Senator Padilla of California. Now, some people are saying he was assaulted at a press conference, and others are saying this was a political stunt to get attention.
First, you have the DHS secretary who is addressing the press. This was not a Q&A period, and she's interrupted. She's interrupted by someone who is speaking very loudly, and so her security detail confronts what we obviously now know to be the moment. As officers are trying to lead him out, he then turns and walks back towards, kind of into those agents. At that point, from a security detail perspective, we're taking this person out against their will.
I hope you noticed I didn't say all Democrats are considering this an assault. Even on CNN, they're saying, hold on, if you crash a press conference and you're being loud and you're charging the stage and nobody knows who you are, you're probably gonna get thrown out. But on the flip side, you have prominent Democrats saying this.
If you could make Alex Padilla forcibly kneel before this executive, when does it stop? He's a United States senator. And if you could force him to kneel to his knees violently, when does it stop? What does it say to other Americans who want to speak up? What does it say to other Americans that want to exercise their constitutional duty? What does it say to other Americans this weekend when they want to peacefully protest? What does it say to other Americans?
So as you can see, some Democrats are very fired up, but I think this is the perfect time to take a break and listen to a word from our sponsor. Because of you guys, thank you. Alright, before we continue with the new clips, I think we need a coffee break. A 1775 coffee break, that's our sponsor. You know that feeling when your coffee actually does what it's supposed to do? It clears your head, lifts your energy, doesn't leave you crashing an hour later. That's what good coffee is supposed to feel like. And that's what you get with 1775 coffee. Their coffee is organic, single origin, high altitude, and small batch roasted. That means no toxins, no acidity, no jitters, just smooth, clean coffee that fuels your day without weighing you down. And right now with their free starter kit, you get 3 bags of premium coffee plus exclusive coffee merch, including a matte black tumbler, frother, gold spoon, or reusable K-cup filter. You pay for 2 bags of coffee and 1775 covers the rest. Whether you drink whole bean, ground coffee, or K-cup pods, you choose your options. This means you're paying less than $1 a cup for coffee quality you won't find in most stores. Head to 1775coffee.com/T-SPLY like you see on the screen, or you can click on the link in my description and start your morning with coffee that supports your values and your health.
He was at that press conference doing his job, asking questions about what is taking place in California, the state that he represents, and on behalf of the American people. And he was recklessly and aggressively manhandled. That was unacceptable.
Okay, so here's the thing. According to Secret Service and to Kristi Noem, nobody knew who that was. They had no idea that was a senator until he started yelling, "I'm a senator." Now, according to Democrats, they're arguing, look, you should know who every senator is. Why did you take him down and why did you detain him? So I'm going to play this full clip. It's about 30 seconds, and I'll let you guys decide how you feel about the situation. Here's the raw footage.
Secretary, I want to know why you insist
so I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this.
Hands up, hands up.
Also, I want to talk
Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your
I also want to talk about...
And even on CNN, they were saying, look, it's one thing to shout and interrupt a press conference, but this scene right here, where you're pushing back and turning around and trying to get to the front, nobody knows who you are, and that is the argument from the Secret Service and the security team. We didn't know who you were, and you kept pushing back.
And no one recognized him because no one knows who Senator Padilla is. He's the least recognized senator in the entire Senate. I'm sorry. So a guy wearing street clothes barges into a press conference just yards away from a cabinet secretary and starts lunging at her and screaming. Secretary Noem's security saw him as a threat, and he pushed the federal officers back. He could have been a stalker, an impersonator, or any yahoo off the street.
Now, I don't know about you guys, I do this professionally every single day, and I didn't know who he was. And I'm not just saying that to push a narrative, I literally did not know who he was. There are so many members of Congress, every once in a while a senator or a member of Congress will pop up and you're like, oh, who are you? Okay, good to see you.
You heard anything from a single Republican member of the U.S. Senate or the House about what happened to you?
Haven't spoken to my Republican colleagues yet. I will say there's two that at least sent a text message saying that they denounced what happened, checking to see if I'm okay. Senator Sheehy from Montana, Senator Curtis from Utah. But the point is this, if my colleagues are now at Leader Thune's office, and this is a question I've been asking all my Republican colleagues since the beginning of Trump's term. When is enough enough? The audacity for how this administration has gone after their political agenda. You know, when I hear behind closed doors, well, once he gets, crosses.
So as you can see, we have a very unique situation here. You even have Republicans who are saying, hold on, this was not a political stunt, this was an assault. On the flip side, you have Democrats saying, okay, this is pretty embarrassing. Nobody else would get away with this, and now he's appearing on national television. Again, leave your comments down below. I'm just trying to give you guys the total perspective.
David, over and over, we've heard from voters in different parts of the country talking about how they want to see Democrats confront the administration on some of these issues like immigration. I mean, it gets handsy, but Padilla was trying to make a statement there.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, she was holding a press conference and doing a press statement. He's not a member of the press. It wasn't like a hearing where it was an open forum for senators to ask a question. He clearly showed up to a public event to create a moment and do what you're saying, sort of show his constituents, not just Democrats, but that he's fighting from his perspective. Again,
and look, it's not me saying it, it's literally CNN saying, the timing of all of this is rather questionable, considering you showed up during the press conference while there was a question and answer with the press, and yeah, you are a U.S. Senator, but maybe that wasn't the best time to start yelling and walking forward when nobody knew who you were.
What I would say is we were conducting a press conference to update everyone on the enforcement actions that are ongoing to bring peace to the city of Los Angeles. And this man burst into the room, started lunging towards the podium, interrupting me and elevating his voice, and was stopped, did not identify himself, and was removed from the room. So as soon as he identified himself, appropriate actions were taken. But I would say that, I had a conversation with the senator after this. We sat down for 10 to 15 minutes and talked about the fact that nobody knew who he was. He didn't say who he was, that until he was already had been lunging forward and people were trying to detain him for quite a period of time, and that this, we're leaders, we're public servants. And if he had requested a meeting, I would have loved to have sat down and had a conversation with him. That coming into a press conference like this is political theater. It's wrong, and it does a disservice to this country and the people who live here. So we sat down, had a conversation. We probably disagree on 90% of the topics, but we agreed to exchange phone numbers. We'll continue to talk and share information, and I think that's the way it should be in this country. I wish he would have acted that way in the beginning instead of creating a scene like this.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you, it's very difficult to tell what direction Democrats are going to take this. From what I can tell, it's sort of fizzling out, but because we have to remember the context. As I film this video, coming up, today you have some protests, but on Saturday is the No Kings protest throughout the United States. So if you're going to put all of your attention and energy into a specific event, maybe this had a little momentum for Democrats, but overall speaking, it looks like the majority of comments I'm reading and people don't really seem to care about this too much. You do have some Democrats and some comments I'm reading like, yeah, this is terrible, but it looks like the main event is coming up on Saturday. So I think that's what Democrats really want to focus on here. And as far as the Kilmar Obrego Garcia stuff, I am virtually almost seeing nothing. The only way you see a member of government, Democrat, who's talking about Kilmar is in the context of unity with the Constitution and having due process. It's never like Kilmar is an amazing man, he deserves to be here. You don't see that anymore. I was really trying to find some clips to have that outlier, but I'm not seeing anything. Obviously, conservative media is tearing up Kilmar Obrego Garcia, Padilla, and as we get more information, I will definitely be updating you guys when it comes to Kilmar. So make sure to please subscribe, make sure to please like the video. But again, I'm virtually seeing nothing as far as Democrat support. I really appreciate all of you guys. Thank you for being here. God bless, and we'll see you all later. Peace.